The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
All signs point to the New York Jets potentially hiring Aaron Glenn as their next head coach. We now know which GM he likely works with. We'll talk about that and more. It's the Jake Asman Show. Let's hit it and get it started.
Man, our Jets are primed to win another offseason, baby. We bleed Jets green each and every day. Will the playoff drought finally end? Who's the coach? Who's the GM? Who's the quarterback? At least we have Garrett Wilson. We have Breece Hall. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super chat, baby. Cut the line. We have Sauce Gardner. We have Quinn Williams. Prepare to be underdogs. Now it's time to talk all things New York Jets. It's the Jake Asman Show.
Here we go on a phenomenal Monday, January 2nd. Second show on the day for me here. Third show overall if you watch the Jake Asman Football Show, where we talked all things NFL Divisional Round Weekend. Before we get started with the news of the day involving the Jets, I want to thank you, the Asmaniacs, the audience that supports this channel. We hit 41,000 subscribers earlier today, and that's incredible considering how bleep of a bleep the Jet season was. And for this channel to continue to grow month over month is a testament to the best audience in all of sports. So thank you to everyone out there for your support. If you haven't subscribed yet, please click the subscribe button. It's free to do so. And like the video. That helps the YouTube algorithm show this show to more people. Plus, you can't get a membership gifted to you unless you're subscribed to the channel and you like the video, because that's how the YouTube algorithm helps determine who randomly gets one. And if you missed it earlier, we did our 12th Asmaniac raffle. Congrats to all our winners. The Klecko jersey, the Garrett Wilson signed helmet, bunch of items from the merch store, Gusbuster umbrella. So thanks to everyone who participated and won. From this point on, all memberships go towards our next raffle, which is for a signed Garrett Wilson jersey. Thank you to listener J Mags for sending this to use for a giveaway, and a signed Breece Hall jersey patch trading card. So signed card from Breece, which includes a jersey patch and a signed jersey by Garrett. Those are the top two items for our next giveaway. So if you want in, gift the membership. And for every membership you gift, you will get a entry in our next raffle. I can't speak today. I've talked a lot. I also am starting the show later than normal because I had to watch the Knicks game. They played at 3 today. Shout out to the Knicks for playing some defense and winning at home today against the Hawks. All right, let's talk about the Jets because there's a lot here. Tomorrow will be one of the bigger days in recent franchise history for the Jets. Now, why do I say that? Well, the New York Jets tomorrow are going to be interviewing Aaron Glenn in person. So a second interview for Glenn. It's fair to say Aaron Glenn is a finalist for the Jet job. He's reportedly the front runner. Well, you see why. Glenn will take an interview tomorrow with the Jets. And it's his first one in person. That's significant. That's not by accident. Aaron Glenn wants the Jets. I believe the Jets want Aaron Glenn. I'll give you my thoughts on whether or not I like that and this whole process, but just breaking down where things stand, all signs point to Aaron Glenn being the favorite for this job. In addition to Glenn, we now know who is a finalist for the GM role. Washington Assistant General Manager Lance Newmark. He will also interview tomorrow in person. So you have Glenn and Newmark together tomorrow interviewing for the job. And let's be real, connect the dots. Lance Newmark and Aaron Glenn were together in Detroit for years together. Newmark left Detroit last year. Adam Peters hired him to be his, lieutenant in the Commanders front office. And Newmark is a guy that's been around football a long time. He's got a long resume, mostly with Detroit, this past year with Washington. And you could see what the Jets are likely trying to do. pair up Aaron Glenn with someone that he knows, that they think he'd work well with. So I have no issue with that. You look at Newmark's resume, and he's certainly someone that's accomplished. So I want to get that out of the way. It feels like we have a pairing here between Newmark and Glenn. I'd go as far as to say, it wouldn't shock me if tomorrow I'm doing a breaking news show at some point where the Jets have hired Aaron Glenn. Or the Jets have hired Lance Newmark first, and then shortly thereafter, we see the tweet from Adam Schefter saying, with the expectation being Aaron Glenn will then be hired. Now, Glenn has a meeting scheduled with the Saints on Wednesday. But there's a very particular wording of a tweet I want to put on the screen. Jordan Schultz was the only one I saw reporting this. He tweeted, sources, Lions DC Aaron Glenn is scheduled for an in-person meeting with the Jets on Tuesday. Quote, if no deal is reached, he'll meet with the Saints in person on Wednesday. Think about that. That line right there. If no deal is reached. This feels like more of a formality to me than a true interview. I think the Jets have already decided Glenn's their top choice. I think the Lions losing expedited this whole thing. I think maybe the Jets decided Glenn's their top guy, but they were comfortable just interviewing more candidates, going through more of the process, but they don't want to risk losing Aaron Glenn. The Saints have a GM. So they're not also in the process of trying to find a GM and a coach. They're just all in on a coach. If they've already decided, hey, Aaron Glenn's our guy, and they make an offer to Glenn, and the Jets are like, we don't know. You're our number one, but we still want to do more of it. Like, I don't think the Jets want to get caught with their pants down here. We could agree or disagree whether or not Aaron Glenn should be considered the front runner, should be their number one candidate, but I think he is. There's too much out there connecting Glenn to the Jets and vice versa to not feel like the Jets' number one priority is Aaron Glenn. Right? I'm not saying I love this, because I don't, and I'll talk about that in a moment. But I'm just, trying to put on my, connecting the dots glasses here, right? You can see what's happening. They're bringing in Newmark because that's Glenn's guy. And the other thing that happened today that also impacts the Jets, Ben Johnson's off the board. Not that Ben Johnson was ever going to be the Jet head coach. He didn't even take an interview. Didn't want to. But Ben Johnson going to the Bears, he was connected to Lance Newmark as his choice of GM he'd bring with him if he went to the Raiders, who need a GM. And Tom Brady got rejected trying to convince Ben Johnson to take that job, which makes sense because the Raiders' job stinks. You don't have a quarterback. You got to deal with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes every year, so you're never winning the division. If you make the playoffs, you're on the road as a wild card team, no matter what. And now you got to deal with a playoff team in Denver and a playoff team with the Chargers, who have a real coach in Jim Harbaugh. So I never felt like Ben Johnson would actually go to the Raiders, but here's how it impacts the Jets. Hypothetically, if Ben Johnson did go to the Raiders and he brought Lance Newmark with him, that was supposed to be Aaron Glenn's guy. Well, now Lance Newmark is available to not go to the Raiders because Ben Johnson's not going there, and Newmark can be the GM of the Jets and work with Aaron Glenn. So I'd be shocked, quite frankly, if Aaron Glenn is not this head coach or this team's head coach and Lance Newmark's not his GM. Couple things on this, right? You look at Newmark, you look at Glenn, there's obviously some familiarity there. They know each other. You like that. No issue with that whatsoever. I think the frustration for me as a Jet fan is while Aaron Glenn is clearly a qualified candidate, I don't understand why the Jets did not interview more offensive guys or experienced guys with this process. That's my frustration more than anything else. I'm going to root for Aaron Glenn, assuming he gets the job. I'm going to root for Lance Newmark. I have no issue with him being the GM. I hope the Jets are adding more to that front office with Newmark, because a first-time GM and a first-time head coach is not what I wanted at all. I wanted one of these guys, if not both, to be guys with previous GM and coach experience, head coach experience. Aaron Glenn's never been a head coach before. He might be awesome. He might stink. He could be Sean McDermott or he could be Robert Saleh. Lance Newmark might be an awesome general manager. I don't know. I'm hoping that the Jets will hire another person to this front office that has been a GM before. I'm hoping it's Thomas Dimitroff, if I had to pick someone. or if they're going to raid the Lions over the last few years, maybe Chris Spielman can be the director of football ops with Newmark being the general manager. Getting another voice there, getting a buffer between ownership and football operation. That's what I want. I have no issue with Aaron Glenn as a candidate. He's deserving of being a head coach. Do I love the fact he's a defensive-minded guy? No. Is that the end-all, be-all? No, not necessarily, right? I mean, Buffalo fired Rex Ryan. They bring in Sean McDermott, another defensive guy. Right? Like, you can't just say, oh, you can't ever hire a defensive guy. But my frustration as a fan of the Jets is that they didn't talk to Mike McCarthy. They didn't talk to Pete Carroll. We wasted time talking to Ron Rivera, Mike Loxley, Rex Ryan, Arthur Smith. We wasted time with these guys. Oh, but they have previous experience. Okay. So if you're going to talk to guys with previous experience, which I agree, smart, then you got to talk to more offensive guys and guys with better resumes than some of the guys you spoke to. That's my frustration. And here's another thing I'll throw out there, right? Because I would rather Mike McCarthy than Aaron Glenn. Maybe some will think I'm nuts. I don't think I am. Mike McCarthy's floor is that he wins games. He wins at least 8 or 9 games every year. Bare minimum. The Jets have not won more than 7 games in a decade. The Jets are in hell right now. I can't worry about Mike McCarthy being the right coach to maybe one day win a Super Bowl because deep down, do I think they would with him? No. But that's not my goal with these hires. We're in hell. I'm trying to get out of hell, all right? We're underground. I want to be above ground. I want to not be the biggest joke in sports. I want to provide some respectability to this franchise. I want to win games. McCarthy would hire a good staff, and at the bare minimum, I feel like I know he's a good coach. He can handle Jerry Jones. He can handle being the head coach of the Cowboys and all that comes with that. He can handle being the Jet coach. So that's who I want right now, but they're not going to talk to him. So of the guys that they've talked to, I like Brian Flores. If I'm going to be honest about a coach with previous experience who I think could handle this market, deserves a second chance, I believe has learned from some of the relationship stuff he dealt with in Miami that didn't go well. He still won games. He went 10-6 and 9-7 his last 2 years there with subpar quarterback play. So I don't have an issue with Aaron Glenn ultimately getting this job. His offensive coordinator hire is going to be massive. We understand that. But it's just frustrating that we're going first-time coach and first-time GM in all likelihood. It's why before I lose my mind and go nuts, I want to see if, one, this actually happens, which I do believe we're going to get a Newmark and Glenn pairing, but are we going to get another person added to this front office? Like, if you tell me Dimitroff is joining them, I'd be like, okay, I get it. Like, I understand it a lot more if that's the case. And then that's why you had this exhaustive process with all these GM interviews, right? 15 candidates. I also will say I like this hire of Aaron Glenn better than I would Arthur Smith, just because Arthur Smith's offensive-minded. See, to me, it's not just, oh, you need an offensive guy at all costs. My frustration is you didn't talk to some of the top offensive guys. Now, if they turned you down, if they weren't interested, that's one thing. But I need to hear that. I need to know that Cliff Kingsbury said no. I need to know that Pete Carroll said, no thanks, I don't have any interest in your job. I need to know that Mike McCarthy, who I heard is interested in the job, people have maybe heard otherwise. I need to know that he said no. Right? You didn't even request Liam Cohen, the Bucs offensive coordinator. You still have an interview scheduled, I believe, with Joe Brady, right? You requested the Bills OC. I mean, Josh Allen threw for 130 yards yesterday and they won. That's a guy who, I don't know, knows a thing or two about coordinating an offense, and it's not just built on Josh Allen throwing the ball downfield and making all these plays. Like, don't you at least want to talk to him? Like, the Jets list should include McCarthy, Todd Monken. Look, and Monken said no, okay. But I want to hear that, Ravens are eliminated. You can talk to Todd Monken now in person. I want to hear that. I want to hear a report. He said no. Joe Brady, same thing. Cliff Kingsbury, same thing. Liam Cohen, same thing. Aaron Glenn's a good candidate. This is not trying to be anti-Aaron Glenn. It's just, here we go again, hiring a first-time head coach with a defensive background, and everything you guys are going to try and tell me about Aaron Glenn, how he's not solid, he's different, he, to a T, is being described the exact same way that Robert Saleh was described when the Jets hired him. And once again, I am going to be the first to tell you that you can't just say Glenn Saleh 2.0 because they didn't work with Saleh. Just like Sean McDermott was not Rex Ryan 2.0 for Buffalo. Just like D'Amico Ryans wasn't Lovie Smith 2.0 for the Texans. And I was in Houston when they hired D'Amico, and that's obviously worked out. So I don't hate this if this is what it ends up being. Once again, the caveat is I hope they hire someone with some experience to help Newmark in that front office, because it's a first-time GM and a first-time head coach. Again, it's an uninspiring hire. That's what it is. Doesn't mean it can't work. We don't know. Doesn't mean that it's destined to fail. Although if you pick against the Jets having success, you're going to be right more times than not in history, especially the last 14 years. But I know all you people are going to try and sell me on Glenn, saying he's not Saleh because of this. The same things you tell me about Aaron Glenn, go look what was said about Robert Saleh, who, by the way, is a finalist for the Jaguars job. And I hope he gets it, because the Jets play Jacksonville next year, and I'd like to see that. But it's frustrating to me that we were sold this wide net, right? All this wide search. And unless someone from the Jets calls me and says, these guys I mentioned, McCarthy, Monken, Brady, Kingsbury, Cohen, said no, then I'm uninspired by this. I am. I rather Lance Newmark and Brian Flores. He's been a head coach before. Honestly, I'm open to Josh McCown over Aaron Glenn. Not saying I necessarily would. I'd want to hear who their staff plans are. But McCown was a quarterback in the NFL for 17 years. He's been a quarterback coach the last 2 years under one of the best young coaches in the league. Also a former NFL quarterback. Josh McCown coaches offense, has the respect of anyone who's ever met him. The Johnson brothers love him. Josh McCown, to me, is just as deserving as Aaron Glenn. Here's the thing. The Jets are going to have to draft a quarterback. If not now, then in 2026. Look at the teams that played this weekend. Look where they drafted their quarterbacks. Other than Jalen Hurts, they were all first-round picks. That's where this is headed. So now we're going to have another defensive-minded head coach who's now going to have to oversee the development of a rookie quarterback, if not this offseason, then next year. So, well, maybe Aaron Glenn is true to his word and he's going to coach the whole team. He better. Robert Saleh said that too. And look at his offensive coordinator hires. Look at his offensive line hire and Keith Carter. So that's another reason why I'm not inspired by another defensive first-time head coach. I'm not. This team's going to have to draft a quarterback. If not this year, maybe they run it back with Rodgers for one more, or it's Tyrod. Whoever, it's a bridge quarterback for 1 year. In 2026, they're likely going quarterback in the first round, barring something unforeseen happening. And now Aaron Glenn is going to be instructed to oversee the development of that quarterback. And maybe he'll be awesome at it, right? Maybe Sean McDermott inspires Aaron Glenn. Aaron Glenn can find Brian Dable to be Josh Allen's OC. Maybe Aaron Glenn can find the right OC for that quarterback. But I don't love the list of candidates we're choosing from. Once again, I can only say I want who they've spoken to. I could say I want this guy. If they haven't interviewed him, there's no point. Brian Flores would be my choice of the guys they've spoken to. But, they're going to hire Aaron Glenn, and they're going to sell the fact that he's done every role, which he has. He's a good candidate. He started in scouting. He's been a quality control coach. He's been a position coach. He's been a DC now the last several years. And once again, this was my opinion before that debacle Saturday night in Detroit by the Lions defense. It's not like I'm just saying I don't want Glenn because, his defense sucked on Saturday. That's not true. I just have a lot of questions about what this coaching staff is now going to look like, what this offensive coordinator specifically is going to look like with Aaron Glenn, and if they're going to add anyone else to the front office. I do not want two first-timers in these jobs. I texted with someone in an NFL front office the day Joe Douglas got fired to get his thoughts. And this person told me they need to hire someone with experience. New York's not a job for first-timers. And that stuck with me. And I have felt that way for months now if you've watched this show. And it just feels like, while both Newmark and Glenn are qualified, we're rolling the dice again with guys with no experience in the jobs we're hiring them for. And that to me is risky. But, what's another year without the playoffs? Or 2, or 3? It's only been 14. We're not going to talk to McCarthy, Carroll, Gruden, but we're going to talk to Ron Rivera, and Arthur Smith, and Vance Joseph, and some of these other just guys that have no business being considered. And look, there was a story out there that, the plan B for the Jets might be Arthur Smith or Matt Nagy if they don't hire Glenn. Give me Aaron Glenn over those guys. I want to be clear. Aaron Glenn's a good candidate. He would make sense for the Jets if this was 4 years ago. I don't know if he makes sense right now given where this franchise is. I don't know that. It could work. I hope it does. I'm going to root for him. I'm a Jet fan. I'm very skeptical. Very skeptical if this is what it ends up being. Especially if they're not going to add someone else to the front office above Newmark, like Spielman or Dimitrov. That's a concern of mine. It just is. Comments, questions, super chats. We'll cut the line. Huga House is today's sponsor. Get a Huga House hat. 20% off if you use my link in the description, or if you only want 15% off, use code Asman at checkout. But I'm trying to save you guys even more money. HugaHouse.com. They have all new hats they dropped on Friday. They have hoodies now. They have winter hats, the beanies. So check it out, HugaHouse.com. Link is in the description, and you'll save 20% off. Get a hat, I should say, from Huga House. Once again, thanks to the Asmaniacs for helping us hit 41K. If you missed it, we're accepting raffle entries now for our next giveaway. Garrett Wilson signed jersey, Breece Hall signed trading card with the jersey patch included. Let's go, baby. Gift away. The raffle is officially open. All right, let me get to some super chats here, and then we'll get to your calls. Big fella. Jake, it's inauguration day. Perfect day to crack the Henny I gave you. LFG, Aaron Glenn. Big fella, you like Aaron Glenn way more than I do. So I'm going to save it for a better occasion because it's a great bottle of Henny you gifted me, and I don't want to poo-poo it. All right, I want it to mean something. Dixon writes in, Woody hired the 33rd team, and all they did was just get another first-time defensive coordinator. Give me McCown. You could sell me on McCown. Yeah, at least he's an offensive guy. At least we're trying something different. Yeah, we're hiring another DC who might be good. Might be. McCown might be good, too. At least he's offense. I know I'm drafting a quarterback. If not this year, then the following year. Who's the OC going to be? That's going to tell us a lot about Aaron Glenn. Double R with a super chat. I agree. McCarthy is objectively best available. I think the Jets are apprehensive to completely turn into the 2016 Packers. I could care less about that. The Jets already have that reputation of just listening to whatever Rodgers wants and all that. He's here for one more year. Mike McCarthy's a good coach. That's why I want him. You see the way his players played for him down the stretch this year with Cooper Rush as his quarterback? You see the fact that he won 12 games or more 3 straight years when Dak was healthy? The only time he finished under 500 in 5 years was when his quarterback missed most of the games. He's a good coach. He has a high floor. I think your ceiling is limited. But I'll take the high floor coach right now. We got to get out of hell. We're underground. Rich says, hit the like button. Agreed. Please hit the like if you're one of the 600 people watching live. Maybe you'll get a membership if someone gives you one. Let's see here. Brandon writes in, for what it's worth, Salah's definitely a better defensive coach than Aaron Glenn, and I have no evidence Aaron Glenn will get our offense out of the 1990s. Could be a downgrade. Yeah, it could be. Now, do you think Aaron Glenn will hold guys more accountable than Salah? right? I do think the fact that he's a former player helps in that regard. I think if you watched him on Hard Knocks a few years ago, you got that sense. But that doesn't mean he's going to be a better coach than Robert Saleh. I mean, I hope he is. I hope he does better than 20 and 36. Just brutal. I mean, here are some stats about the Jets offense. Last 20 years, the Jets have averaged 19 points per game. The Jets have had a top 10 scoring offense one time since 2012. They were 10th the Fitzpatrick year of 2015. The Jets have averaged 20-plus points per game 2 total times since 2011. The Jets had their best offense this past season since 2019. And they only averaged 19.9 points per game, which was 24th in the NFL. The past 6 seasons, the Jets have averaged 17.3 points per game and had the 28th on average offense on a yearly basis. And now we're hiring another defensive coach. Okay. Aaron Glenn might be awesome. I hope so. I hope he truly can coach the whole team. I hope he truly knows what his plan is for his offensive coordinator, because it's not going to work unless he figures that out. Because if not this year, this team's drafting a quarterback in the first round in 2026. Because if they don't, and they punt on doing that another year, they're never going to win. Ever. You're not winning a Super Bowl without a quarterback that's drafted in the first round in today's NFL. You're not. Especially in the AFC. You're not getting through Mahomes. You're not getting through Allen. You're not getting through Burrow, Lamar, Herbert, Stroud, Knicks. You're not getting through all these guys. Like, I want an offensive coach or someone that has been a successful head coach. We have done neither. So we're taking another risk with a first-timer and a first-time GM to bat, if true, which once again, I'd be shocked. I don't love it. I don't. I hope Aaron Glenn's awesome. I don't love it. Not a job for first-timers. Let's hire 2 guys that have never done it before. All right. I hope it works. Playoff droughts only 14 years and counting. Swamp Ranger writes in, no offensive-minded head coaches want to come here with no young franchise quarterback. Okay, so that's why I'm more open to McCown then. Let me be a year early on McCown than too late. If everyone says Josh McCown's going to be a head coach someday, and I agree, then I'll take that over maybe another first-time DC. I'm at least considering it. Maybe Josh McCown's plan is Doug Peterson's your offensive coordinator, Super Bowl winning head coach. We already saw Ben Johnson basically get his handpicked DC to join him in Chicago. He's got Dennis Allen, former Saints head coach, who's a good DC, joining him. Who's Aaron Glenn bringing with him? It's easier to find a DC than it is a really good OC. I want to know. So let me get this straight. If Aaron Glenn hires a first-time offensive coordinator, we're going to do the thing we did with Saleh in 2021, where we have first-time head coach, first-time OC, and maybe a rookie quarterback. If not, it's going to be a second-year OC, second-year coach, and a rookie. Like, okay, I hope it works. I love the Jets more than most things in my life. I hope it works. I'm rooting for it, too. Joe says, might be some more finalists. I mean, the way that Jordan Schultz worded this tweet, there's only more finalists if they don't get a deal done tomorrow. If the Jets say, Aaron Glenn, you're our guy, we want to hire you, we're going to get this done, he's going to cancel his remaining meetings with the Saints or any other team. He's going to cancel them. Here's what I do like about Aaron Glenn. You want me to be a little positive? I'll try. But I'm always going to be honest on this show. I like the fact that he wants to be a Jet. I love that he's a former Jet. I love that. That's cool. But I'm not hiring him because of that. That doesn't make him to me a better candidate than someone with experience like McCarthy, who they don't interview, or Brian Flores, who they have. That doesn't make him a better candidate because he played for the Jets. He played for the Jets when Leon Hess owned the team. He had 2 years of Woody Johnson at the end of his Jet career. And then he was a scout with the Jets in, I think, 2012, 2013 when Woody owned the team. That's not the same thing. I mean, it's not. Jay writes in, why is Newmark considered a good candidate? Never heard of him. I mean, he's got 26 years of experience in a bunch of different roles. Adam Peters is considered a really good general manager. One of his first moves when he got the Commander's job was to bring him in as his lieutenant. So I'm okay with Newmark. But my thing was, if you're going to hire a first-time head coach, can the GM be someone who's done it before, like Dimitrov? Or can we interview? If we're going to raid the Lions, no one wants to talk to John Dorsey? Crazy. I saw a comment from Dan saying 26 years, never got promoted. No, he was promoted many times with the Lions. He's a qualified candidate. I'm just, once again, not in love with first-timers in both these jobs. One, okay. Two, don't love it. Dixon writes in, if McCown is the next McVay, we're going to kick ourselves in the ass. Probably. And when Aaron Glenn's out of a job in 3 years, we're going to say, why don't we hire Josh McCown? That's my fear. We'll see. Hope it works. Let's get to your calls. Gusbuster Hotline is open. First up today is the winner of the signed Garrett Wilson helmet from this morning's Asmaniac Raffle. The Hamburger starts us off. What's up, Hamburger?
What's up, man? Happy Inauguration Day. Happy day for America. Listen, I want to thank, there you go. I want to thank, I don't know, I think Purple Belt Mike gave me some memberships the other day to put in. So if that was one of them that won it, Purple Belt Mike, thank you. I appreciate it. And and if it's for my daughter, it'll go up in her room.
I love that.
So listen, we talked about the other day that, we got to hire the general manager first. And now the news comes out that he's the only guy to get the second interview. And all of a sudden, all this, like you just said with Glenn, I don't like it, man. It stinks. I really don't like it. I'm not happy about it. Nothing against Aaron Glenn, but like you, I don't want that first-time head coach, a defensive again. It scares the hell out of me, man. It's 14 years, and now we got to deal with this again. And what if it is another silo? What if it's worse? I mean, you put up the picture of the two guys, and it was like, I could just, in my mind, I could see, like, looking at that in, like, a year from now and being like throwing up, like, how can we get rid of these guys? I don't know, man. I don't like it. The fact that we didn't interview anybody else. We didn't interview Carroll. We didn't interview Gruden. We didn't interview McCarthy is a joke to me. It really is. It's a joke, and it stinks. I think that the 33rd guys just built their resume to shop around for next year, and we got the bottom of the barrel again, and it's just, I don't know, man. It's kind of disappointed. I know a lot of fans like him. They feel, oh, he was a Jet. Yeah, but that means nothing to me, man.
I mean, he's a top coaching candidate. The issue is he's a defensive coaching candidate. Of course. But that's my thing. This job wasn't a bad job that they're settling for Aaron Glenn. They're blown away by him thinking he's like this great coaching candidate, and he might be. I just think, how many times are you going to get fooled by the same type of first-time coach from that background? Hire someone with experience so they're not learning on the job, man.
Exactly, man. I feel the same way about it. Like, listen, if tomorrow it comes out that those are our guys, I'm going to be up behind them 100%. But, man, am I going to be nervous. I got to tell you, man, I love the Jets, and I love watching football, and I don't want to watch what I watched again next year, what we see in this year. It's just I can't deal with it again. It's going to be really, really bad for the brain. But, listen, I appreciate everything you do. Congratulations on the memberships and what was it? How much is it? 42,000? 41,000. Congratulations, my friend. Well deserved. And I appreciate it. Everybody have a great night. I'm going to go eat some dinner. Let's go America, man.
Are you having a hamburger to celebrate Inauguration Day by being really patriotic with a hamburger for dinner?
No, actually, my wife is making some spatzel with some chicken cutlet, a little bit of a German meal. That should be good tonight. I'm excited for that. My son's helping her make it, so.
Love it. Enjoy, Hamburger.
See you guys later. Thank you.
The great Hamburger checking in. He won the Garrett Wilson helmet. No one's gifted a membership yet. If you want a chance to win the signed Garrett Wilson jersey or the Brees signed card, gift the membership or a $20 super chat is the way to go. $20 super chat will get you 5 raffle entries. 50 will get you 10. 100 will get you 20. We'll get to more of your calls shortly here. Super chat from Tyrone, who writes in, well, at least we know our new head coach and GM. This is 99% going to happen. All we can do is sit back and watch. Fingers crossed, go Jets. 2025. Yeah, it wouldn't shock me if I'm doing a breaking news show tomorrow. Jets hire Newmark and Glenn. You know, we'll see. Mimosa writes in, saw Woody in D.C. He ain't hiring bleep this week. He'll be back on his private jet tonight, ready to meet with Aaron Glenn and Lance Newmark tomorrow. He's in D.C. for the day. I think we get news tomorrow or Wednesday at the latest. Hit the like button if you're just tuning in. We are reacting to the report that Aaron Glenn and Lance Newmark will interview in person tomorrow. The only known candidates to have anything scheduled with the Jets this week. What does that tell you? They've decided it's going to be Aaron Glenn. The only thing that could hold this up is if they can't come to terms on a contract. But Glenn wants the Jets, which I like. I like that he wants this job. I like that he considers it a dream job. But that doesn't mean I'd hire him over someone with more experience. It's better. But, the Jets feel differently. So, yeah, they've never been wrong. They're always right. They always get it right with their hires. And just the last 14 years have gotten tremendous. More of your calls right now. Let's say hello to Alex. He's next. What's up, Alex?
Hey, Jake. What's up? So, yeah, it looks like it's going to be Glenn. There's reason to be excited about him. Former Jet. Seems like he brings more of a disciplinarian attitude than Saleh did. One concern, though, is with his staff, right, which is what you were just talking about earlier. If he's going to be a defensive-minded head coach, got to bring in a good offensive staff. With Ben Johnson going to the Bears, so you got to think, most people are going to think, well, Glenn can bring over some assistant coaches from Detroit. But if you're an offensive assistant in particular from the Lions, you have a choice to either go with Ben Johnson to Chicago, stay with the Lions and get a promotion, or then go join Aaron Glenn and the Jets staff. That's the third best option for all those coaches, right? So I don't see us getting a lot of coaching talent from Detroit. So that just makes me kind of nervous as to who the coordinator is going to be and the whole offensive staff as a whole. And it can be another Saleh situation, like you said, where it's a first-timer, and it's not the best spot for a quarterback to develop, which is obviously going to be important. So, yeah, I'm not a guy that's like, we need to have an offensive head coach, but two of the four coaches that are left right now, right? Quinn in Washington and McDermott in Buffalo, both have really good quarterbacks and both have good offensive coordinators. So if we get Glenn, obviously hope for the best, but that's my biggest concern.
Yeah, it is a real concern because you are right. Lions, better opportunity to stay with Ben Johnson if you're already on that staff and he could take you. But typically, you don't raid staffs like that when you go elsewhere. You get maybe one pick. Saleh got to pick one guy to take with him from San Francisco. He chose LaFleur over McDaniel. That's what it came down to. So, I'm sure Aaron Glenn will take someone with him, but he's going to have to go and rely on his experience in the league for as long as he's been and his connections from when he was in New Orleans and his connections from when he was a player and all these former players that are on different staffs across the league, right? Like that's where you're hoping Aaron Glenn has a plan for all this. Like, I'm sure he does. We'll find out if he's going to hire a good staff. I think Saleh hired a really good defensive staff. I think his offensive staff hires doomed him. It killed him. The scheme was terrible, and we saw guys not develop on that side of the ball. That was a major issue.
Yep. Maybe if it is Newmark, someone from the Washington staff, I don't know. That could – I saw Rex Ryan yesterday. They were talking about on ESPN, like, coaching possibilities for the Cowboys, and I guess Anthony Lynn was scheduled for an interview there, and Rex was, like, singing Anthony Lynn's praises, like he should get that job. I guess he's done a good job as, like, their run game coordinator. Maybe a reunion with him wouldn't be the worst thing, but, yeah, that's what we got to look out for is just what's the staff going to look like. And if it is Glenn, listen, there's reason to be excited, so throw support behind him and let's go.
Yeah, look, if he's the guy, I want him to do well. Good call, Alex. I want Aaron Glenn to be the best coach ever. I want Aaron Glenn to win Coach of the Year, win a Super Bowl, all that. I have doubts. Name to watch for the offensive coordinator for Aaron Glenn would be John Morton because there was overlap with the two of them with the Saints, and Morton has been the OC of the Jets before and actually did a nice job with McCown that year that McCown had to start when they were supposed to be the worst team in the league, and McCown had them 5-8 with a good offense before he didn't play the last 5 games that year because he got hurt. Shake and Bake with a super chat here. He cuts the line. What's up, Jake? I'm thinking Glenn's good for accountability standard, but Flores has the proven head coaching track record. Yeah. Also, I think Brian Flores would hold people accountable too. So, they didn't talk to Mike McCarthy. They didn't talk to Pete Carroll. They didn't talk to Liam Cohen. They didn't talk to Joe Brady. They didn't talk to Todd Monken. They didn't talk to Cliff Kingsbury. And some of these guys maybe said no. Not all of them, though. Not all of them. Just saying. Well, let's hire the defensive guy with no head coaching experience. Okay. I hope it works. I really do. Hope it works. More of your calls right now. Paul's up next. Hey, Paul.
How you been, Jake?
What's up, Paul? How are you?
Miserable. It's just deja vu all over again. It feels like it's so frustrating because you think about all the years that we tried someone new for a head coach. They always mess up the 2-minute drill, or they mess up a 4th and whatever. It's just I don't want to deal with it again. I want just somebody that's been there, done that, like you said, just somebody reputable, please. Like I don't understand why we gotta go out and get new people to take a chance. It's like I always have been optimistic every year. I'm sick of it. After what happened the last 2 years, I can't do it. It's like, I don't know. I'm frustrated. It's like never ends. They're going to do it again. Then finger pointing. GM did a bad job with this draft pick. This guy didn't hire the right offensive coordinator. They're not good enough here, there, bad. It's just, I could see it coming. And again, it's nothing personal. Everybody deserves a chance. And there are people every now and again that step up and actually become the next greatest thing. But I just don't feel like we're in a position to try that. Like, we've tried it too many times. It didn't work. You look at Bowles. Okay, we gave him more time. He has more time now, and he's a good head coach, I guess. But it just doesn't work. And I don't know. I just can't take it. I just had a vent. And thank God for 0 beer. It makes me feel better. At least I feel like I'm drinking again, But cheers. Hopefully I'll see you soon. And go Jets, I guess.
Paul,
take it easy.
I love it, man. Appreciate your passion. Peter Castro has weighed in. Jake, 10 more years of being for shit. Told you. Ladies and gentlemen, Peter Castro did call this. He did say about a year ago, if Rodgers couldn't fix this, we're going to get 10 more years of being for shit. And with Aaron Glenn likely being hired, Peter Castro is guaranteeing 10 more years of Jet fan hell. I hope you're wrong, Peter. I hope you're wrong. I can't do another 10 years. Can't do it. That can't happen. No way.
Our coaching staff stinks. The team is never prepared. They're undisciplined. They make a million mistakes. And the coaching staff is terrible. He doesn't know what he's doing. Hackett and him are like having 2 drug addicts on the sidelines. They're no good. And if Rodgers doesn't fix this, we're all going to kill ourselves. What happens after Rodgers? They have no plan for that. It's going to be 10 more years of being for shit.
Man. Don't worry, Peter. Allen wanted Aaron Glenn. So Allen gets his head coaching candidate of choice. All is well. Julio with a super chat. I'm hearing from Lions fans, if Glenn's hired, he's bringing Mark Brunell to be the OC. Hope that's not true. Why? Mark Brunell's been the quarterback coach there. Former player. He's got more coaching experience than Josh McCown. I don't hate that. I actually would like that. I wouldn't mind that at all, Julio. You tell me Mark Brunell is the OC, I'll be like, okay. Can we get an experienced offensive staff, though? Like, who's his assistant head coach? Hopefully someone that's been a head coach before. I think it's going to be Darren Rizzi as the special teams coordinator. I think he'll be on Glenn's staff. They know each other from New Orleans. He was just the interim head coach of the Saints. So I'd like to see that. I'd like to see Glenn's DC be someone that has maybe been a seasoned coach as well. That'd be nice. Super chat from Michael Levinson. Michael, you are in the raffle for 5 with this $20 super chat, baby. Yeah. Jake, we can complain and yell, but in the end, we will accept and root for the uniform. Yeah, Michael. Duh. What do you think? I'm not going to watch the Jets anymore? But I'm not going to sit here and tell you I love this if this is what it ends up being when I don't. I'm not going to lie. This is not what I wanted them to do. Doesn't mean it can't work. But this is not what I wanted them to do. So I'm not going to lie to the audience. You think I had 41,000 subscribers because I'm only going to wave Jet pom-poms? No. Absolutely not. But you're in the raffle, my man. $20 super chat, 5 tickets. I got you down. C writes in with a super chat. He cuts the line. Saleh was a first-time head coach who was a DC, but so was Rex and Mangini, and they were both successful. Let's see how it plays out. AG may hire a great staff. He better. He's going to be out of a job in 3 years if he doesn't. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. He's going to be jobless in 3 years if he doesn't have a good coaching staff. C says, if the Jets take a swing at McCown, I'm all for it. Yeah. The more I go through the options, why is Aaron Glenn better than Josh McCown? Tell me. Someone tell me. Josh McCown played in the league for 17 years at a quarterback. The Texans interviewed him right off the field in his last year in the league to be a head coach. And we're going to hire him if the league didn't step in following the Brian Flores lawsuit. He's been a quarterback coach the last 2 years. He coached Drake May in high school before that, by the way. He's beloved by everyone. I mean, be a year early on McCown than too late. Now, I don't want McCown over Flores. I don't want McCown over McCarthy, but they're not interviewing McCarthy. And Brian Flores, he interviewed, so I'd still take him, but we're going to need this team to draft a quarterback in 2026 in all likelihood. 2026. So here we go. Here's Sam Darnold being drafted for Todd Bowles to be his coach all over again. Here's Mark Sanchez being drafted for Rex Ryan to be his head coach all over again. Here's Zach Wilson being drafted for Robert Saleh to be his head coach all over again. You trust the Jets with a defensive first coach to be able to develop a rookie? I mean, we watched what Geno Smith has been able to do now that he's gone elsewhere and got real coaching. Took a while. We've watched what Sam has been able to do with real coaching and development. We trust the Jets to be able to get it right with Aaron Glenn. Okay, I hope so. I hope Aaron Glenn's the next Sean McDermott. And McDermott found Brian Dable. And then McDermott was able to find a really good OC in Joe Brady post Dable leaving. That's the other thing. Even if Aaron Glenn nails the OC hire, here's my other concern. If it goes well, like the Glenn truthers out there are telling me Glenn's going to be awesome and he's not solid 2.0. If it goes well, that OC is now going to get poached. And maybe Aaron Glenn's like Mike Vrabel and can find 2 good OCs that will get head coaching jobs. Well, then what do you do when you get to the third time? And look, these are first world problems. It means the Jets had a good offense for once. I'll worry about it then. I'm just saying this is why the more you think about the argument for McCown a year early, it makes sense. I can be sold on it, is all I'm saying. I can be sold on it. Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to check in with someone who I would call a survivor. I would call him a man who had a near-death experience and lived to survive it and still be a part of our show. Give us a little moonwalk.
I can't. I got the ankle. Oh, do you not know what happened?
No. Did something happen recently?
Yeah, when I was in New York, I got hit by a car.
Is there security footage of this? Can I play it on the show?
So they would probably have the footage. I mean, what am I going to do with it now?
Gator's already working on a production of this. So
yeah, I think that's why I didn't want to bring it up.
I'm going to play a drop, and then that's your cue to make a face like you got hit by a car. You ready?
All right, I'll do it.
Here we go. Ready? And Gator writes in, can he throw the headset off and vomit?
Now there's a gas station over here. I'm gonna go get some pizza and see if they have any butter to put on it.
You could have died.
But I didn't. I did not die. I didn't die. Here we go again, Jacob. Here we go again. Here we go again. Jets get the higher. Look, in Glenn's defense, every great head coach, for the most part, was once a rookie. Was a rookie who was a coordinator before that. Nearly every single one. So I can't say he's going to be bad because he's a rookie. I don't understand taking that risk right now. I just like if this was a Nets and you're coming off the KD era and you just got to rip it down and start brand new at everything and you're going to be horrible anyway, then you roll the dice on a hot shot, assistant. But the Jets aren't in that position. I really don't understand this hire. Like, I'm not saying Glenn's not going to do a great job. Maybe he will. I have my doubts. Yeah, I hope he does too. I like Glenn. I mean, you're old enough to have watched Glenn play as a player, right? You remember he was excellent. Like I hope, and he's a Texan, so there's that. So there's like extra motivation for him, for me to want him to do well. That being
just
said,
like Michael Clemens.
Michael Clemens, that's right. Who did not do so well this year, but he did save the season on Halloween against Houston, if not just for 1 week. Right.
He did, and not other Texan Garrett Wilson that night against the Texans.
Oh yeah, he had some catch that night. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Are you gonna be upset when he betrays this organization to go to Ohio to go play for the Browns or whatever?
I didn't hear a word you said. I have to address the Morana comment here from Gary, who writes in, Jake's football IQ is very low. He's a typical Gen Z fan. One, I'm not a Gen Z fan. I don't think I'm Gen Z. I'm what would be a millennial. And two, Gary, kiss my ass, bum.
Now look what you've done. No more protection from the Asmaniacs. Had to pull you out of the chat and cast you down with the sodomites. Some time in here will feel like you've been run over by the lane train. You understand me? You catch my drift? Give him another 24 hours to think about it.
I think if I was a Gen Z fan, I would probably like the Glenn hire. Oh, he's going to be great. He's exactly what they need. I think my take is more with the OGs who want experienced coaches. All the older callers into the show want previous head coaching experience. I'm aligned with the Neils of the world and Peter Castros of the world more than I am the youth.
And me, I only wanted a coach with experience. I didn't even really want Monken or guys like that because they weren't.
Connor Longmice that they're hiring Glenn. He's a what's the term?
I don't even know if he is a Gen Z. What alpha is? I think is what they're calling him now.
What's the
Gen Z?
What's the age range for Gen Z?
So a Gen Z would be born. So a millennial would have been born by like the end of the century, like 99. So from 2000 to 2000. Yeah, he would still be. He would still be a Gen Z. 2000, 2014, something like that in that era. I think maybe 98, something like that. 98 to 2014 in that era. What year was he born? 2010-ish, I think. 11, 12. Yeah, he would still be. He'd be a Gen Z. All right, now that that's settled. I see. I lost my train of thought again. Yeah, and the other thing is, look, I don't know, McCowan. I watched the press conference, and I didn't even see the one that they were talking about. I just saw one when he lost a random game for the Bucks when they were like 1-10, and he was crying after that game. Yeah, it's probably for the best we didn't hire him. I don't know. Maybe he can make out to be a good OC. I can't have my head coach crying on the sidelines every time we lose a game. I can't have that. So I'm not saying anything bad about McCowan, but you can't have crybaby as head coach. That's not going to work. So,
one of your worst takes. I can't.
How is this a worst take? Your head coach. I pulled the tape of McCown crying. This wasn't even the one they were talking about when he retired. This was just when he was with Tampa. So this was before he was with the Jets. And they're 1-10, and he's crying in a post-game press conference. How can you have that?
I don't have it in me to argue with you. I did run a poll. Do you like the Jets hiring Aaron Glenn over either Josh McCown or Brian Flores? I listed those two because I think those are the other names of the people they spoke to that this fan base actually wants, potentially. By the way, Dan Campbell cried after his press conference on Saturday. Is he a bad coach?
Did he really cry?
Yeah, go watch. Crying doesn't mean you're not. Crying doesn't mean you're weak.
It means you're emotionally unstable.
It also doesn't necessarily mean that at all.
No, that's literally what it means. It means you can't control your emotions because you didn't do your job well enough. That's what that means. It's exactly what that means. I don't even understand how this is okay.
5 super chats if we send Gary to the hole. I can't do it.
I can't deal with like defending crybaby. What's the characteristic I want in my head coach? Oh, I want him to cry like a baby after we lose because that'll fix things. I don't understand. No, it's not okay to cry because you lost a football game. Go out there, figure out how to be better, and let's go win next week or next season in Dan Campbell's case. Like, come on, no crying. Go get in the film room, go figure out how to get this done for all of us so we can win next season. Crying's not going to make it better. Crying, Jake? Come on, bro.
God. Ladies and gentlemen, the big fella puts us out of our misery. Gary, farewell.
Now look what you've done, Gary. No more protection from the Asmaniacs. Had to pull you out of the chat and cast you down with the sodomites. Some time in here will feel like you've been run over by the lane train. You understand me? You catch my drift? Give him another 24 hours to think about it.
We'll see you later. Thank you to the big fella who won our Super Bowl 3 ring. Big fella, I ordered it for you today, so it will be there. The following 5 Asmaniacs are now channel members. Friday Jones, Hollywood Rules, Bang Mateo, gross, Ripple, D Van G, all receiving channel memberships. Our first 5 of the show, and we're an hour in. Wow. Italian Eddie writes in, McCown did nothing to help Sam Darnold when they were both Jets. Ladies and gentlemen, today's dumbass comment of the day is brought to you by Italian Eddie Ralph.
F you. F you. F you too.
Ask Sam Darnold about Josh McCown. Remember when Sam Darnold's parents were in tears after Sam's first game when they saw Josh McCown in the tunnel and they hugged him and thanked him for everything that McCown did helping their son? Okay. Please. Bates is my hero, writes in. Beast gets a tear in his eye when the BK theme song plays. Me too. It's very emotional. Dave Brigger says, emotions pour out of the soul. Apparently, Gary doesn't have one. Sean says, did Rex cry? Yeah, Rex got teared up too. A couple times I could remember. Kakuga Lake, Dick Vermeil cried and won a Super Bowl. You're right. There was a comment from Hawk I wanted to read that I think just exposes his foolishness. Here it is. McCown sucked as a player, sucked as a quarterback coach, yet everyone wants him as a head coach. I can't fathom it. What are you talking? How did he suck as a quarterback coach? Think about some of the best coaches in the league. Jim Harbaugh was a backup quarterback in his career. Kevin O'Connell, backup quarterback in his career. Like, come on, man. You can't sit here and tell me that McCown, because he wasn't a great quarterback, that means he won't be a good coach. It's ridiculous. Elmo Jet Fan, Gary with another terrible take that's actually normal. Unreal. Super chat from Julio. Would you consider Steve Wilkes for DC? Absolutely. Previous head coaching experience. Been an interim head coach before as well. Yes. Where is Steve Wilkes right now? Is he in Cleveland? He was the. Where is Steve Wilkes right now? Volunteer advisor for the Charlotte 49ers. Yeah, I'd hire Steve Wilkes. I'm sure he wants back in. He got a raw deal. They fired him after 1 year in San Fran. After the Super Bowl. I remember this now. Yeah. Bang Mateo says Bryce Young improved when McCown left. No, Bryce Young improved when he went to the bench and regathered himself, and a different coaching staff worked with him. Bryce Young was in a brutal spot. The team sucked a year ago. They fired his head coach, 7 or 8 games into his rookie season? You can't even don't give me Bryce Young. I don't want to hear that. That's the comments today are just otherworldly stupid. Incredible. Bang Mateo, never change.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. And may God have mercy on your soul.
I can't. More of your calls now, shall we? Jets Johnny is up next. Hello, Jets Johnny. What do you got for us? Johnny? Johnny? You're gone. Southend is up next. Hello, Southend.
Crazy. Yeah. Well,
Nuts,
I'm
bro.
gonna head out.
Where you
Right.
headed, bro? Yeah. What's up?
Yo, Jake, I'm dropping a car off. I just cleaned. Give me 2 seconds.
Ladies and gentlemen, more of your calls. You know what? You people, you're the reason why this is happening, all right? And half the chat that doesn't like it, guess what? All right? I'm out of options. I have no choice. Deal with it.
You know what time it is? A beast breaker, 666. I'm gonna take my fist and shove it up your ass, and then he gotta go.
Give me
What's
a
up,
second,
Beast?
Jake.
Oh, God.
Give me a second, Jake.
You too. You're supposed to be the one guy ready.
Can you hear me, Jake?
Oh, I hear you, Beast.
Okay, there you go. Clear. All right, tension back. 3, 2, 1, let's party. Now, congratulations to the New York Knicks, who body slammed, or should I say, Atlanta Hawks, right into the 5th row, first class. So, how do you feel today? I know you might like that win. 119-110. Bam, bam, bam.
I liked it. They played great.
Hey, that was a 3-count knockout. I like that. But you know what we do need? We got to relax. It's only January. We're all jumping around like chickens with our heads cut off. We need to relax. Have some Sprite. Have a slice of pizza. Or tonight, if you feel up to it, go get yourself some tacos. You know, you got fish, you got chicken, you got pork, you got beef. Make your pick. I'll even have one with you. I'm me.
I'm gonna get some tacos tonight, Beast, in your honor.
Hey, now you're talking to a man with honor and reasonability.
Mm-hmm.
If we get Aaron Glenn, we'll be fine. But he does come from a Parcells mind because he did so well. I mean, he worked with Victor Green, he worked with Otis Smith, Ferguson, Mo Lewis, a lot of great guys. But where do we don't have the right coaches of today. Some of these coaches that we have, we got the mediocres, you got the bums, you got the wackos, and then you got talent, star talent. Let's really put it to perspective. Let's be hypothetical here. I like McCarthy. I would love to get him, but why are we dragging our feet? It's like, Jesus Christ. We got pussy alert. Pussy alert. Pussy alert.
You had a good run. Unfortunately, the chat felt differently.
Now
look what you've done.
Offensive line, defensive
Beast
line,
Breaker
offensive line. The first thing I'm going to
666.
address-
No more protection from the Asmaniacs. Had to cut your call off and cast you down with the sodomites. Some time in here will feel like you've been run over by the lane train. Do you understand me? You catch my drift?
Are you seriously on crack? I think somebody
Give them another 24 hours to think about it.
How about you bending over and taking up the booty hole behind the 7-Eleven?
The irony of that one, and look, I'm a capital fish, so you could ban my mother for $50. I'll take it. What do I care? But the irony of that one from Kyle is Beast was making points, real points, trying to calm down Jet fans who aren't in love with the Aaron Glenn hire, if that's who it ends up being. Telling me I should eat some tacos. I might eat tacos now. It was actually not crazy. Beast, that was a good call. But keep calling that way, man. We could work with that. All right. Don't get discouraged by Kyle Clifton here. But Kyle, I will get you down in our raffle with this $50 super chat with 10 entries. So shout out to you, man. Appreciate your support. Ladies and gentlemen, Hawk checks in with a $10 super chat. Someone tell me one thing that McCown has done well in his football career. 27 and 75 as a player, never had a winning season, never proved anything as a quarterback coach. Might as well hire Hawk. If you're going to say Josh McCown with 18 years of playing experience in all these different offensive systems, has never done anything. Some of the best coaches aren't the best players. And some of the best players aren't the best coaches because they can't teach others because it came natural for them. Josh McCown had to earn everything to last in the NFL as long as he did as a backup. So he's not a starter. He's a backup. Great. That means he can't be a good coach. I got news for you. A lot of guys in the league are former players. And if everyone agrees McCown has the leadership qualities to be a head coach, my point is maybe we're early on hiring him over another first-time defensive-minded coach. I want Brian Flores. I also want Mike McCarthy. They haven't spoken to McCarthy, and I don't know where things stand with Flores. Feels like maybe he's the fallback option if they can't get Glenn. But the idea that McCown, because he was a backup as an NFL player, is not qualified to be a head coach is asinine. What a waste of $10. I mean, I'll gladly take it, but this is a smelly Gorman level take.
I think the second one, excuse me.
I just gross. But I do appreciate it, Hawk. Thank you. All right, more of your calls right now. Normally when Beast Breaker's on, this guy ends it, but it wasn't him today. The big fella. He's next. Hello, big fella.
Hey, man. Yo, all I want to do is get tacos with my best friend, bro. That's all I want to do. I wonder what kind of tacos he likes, actually. We can get some shrimp tacos. That'd be cool.
Hey, 10 memberships by anyone, and we'll get Beast out of the hole, and we'll find out his taco order. I think that'll be fun.
That'd be cool, yeah. I'm high on Glenn, dude.
Why?
Why? Because
why is he different than the other times they've done the exact same thing?
Because he's a different guy. He's a different guy.
What do you like about him?
Well, I like the fact that he started out when he got the job with like one of the worst defenses in the league, and they were like 9th this year, and that's with all the injuries that he had. So I'm good with that, and I like the fact that he's a disciple of Parcells, like learning from him and everything. And you know, I just think he, with the lineage that he has with the Jets, I think it's great.
Okay,
that's just my opinion on it. But I don't know much about this guy Newmark. Who is he? Like, he's from Washington? Was he involved with drafting Jaden Daniels last year or no?
I mean, do I think he'll probably take credit for it on the resume? Yeah,
probably,
just
right?
like there's like 10 people who claim to be involved in how Patrick Mahomes got drafted. That's kind of how it goes.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, obviously Aaron Glenn knows him better than anyone because they were together in Detroit for a long time. So you know, that's part of this. They're pairing them up together. Yeah,
and I mean, I like your take with the Brunell coming over with him too. If that's the case, I mean, I think Brunell would be a nice choice to go with Glenn as an offensive coordinator and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that's good. So anyway, I'm happy that, you know, it's inauguration day and everything, and I was hoping that we could share a sip together. But it's not happening until something better happens, which is fine.
I'm not happy. I'm not angry. I'm not angry. I didn't want another first-time head coach and first-time GM. And unless someone tells me there's someone above Newmark, that's exactly what they're doing. And it's a first-time head coach on defense. I didn't want that either.
What about Curtis Martin? Like, is there any legs to that still? Or?
No, that was just an idea floated out there by Gary Myers. There was never anything backing that. It was just a suggestion.
Okay. You think they might hire Newmark and Dimitrov or no? Like,
I hope they hire someone above Newmark.
Yeah. We can only hope, man. We can only P-stroke, big fella, get your own tacos butt head. It's too funny. He's my best friend. But anyway, man.
Hey, if he's your best friend, bring him back, man. Bring him back.
Yeah. Well, he's not that much of my best friend. But, anyway, great show, man. Have a good one.
Big fella, I appreciate it. Look, I'm glad you're excited about Glenn. I hope he's awesome. I'm rooting for him. I'm just, I'm underwhelmed. This is what it ends up being. I'm underwhelmed. All right, we tried going to this guy before, and he wasn't there. Let's see if we have him this time. Jets Johnny, you're next. What's up, Johnny?
Jake, my brother, how you doing tonight, man?
What's up, dude?
Not much, brother. You caught me on the worst time. I was driving for like an hour, and then you go to me right when I come home and go to bed.
My bad.
So, it was terrible timing. But no, I just wanted to call in because it seems like Aaron Glenn's a done deal right now. So I'm kind of like you. I'm in the middle with it. Like, I don't hate it. I'm gonna root for him. I hope he does great. I hope he brings us our Super Bowl. But to me, I'm thinking they told me one time insanity is defined by doing the same thing over and over and over again and not learning from it. And I feel like that's what Woody Johnson is doing. He does the same thing every single time. He gets a brand new defensive coordinator, brings him in as a head coach, and it's like we haven't learned nothing. I feel like the NFL's moved on. It's not a defensive game anymore. It's more of an offensive game now. And so to me, I'd rather take the chance on a young, hot offensive coordinator or offensive guy like McCown or like a Joe Brady and take a swing on that than keep doing the same thing over and over again with these defensive guys. Because I don't think Aaron Glenn's going to be terrible. Like, I think he would have to try to be bad. So he'll be okay. But I just don't see us winning more than 8, 9, 10 games with Aaron Glenn, finishing second in the division. We're still second fiddle to the Bills. If we do make the playoffs, we got to go on the road. So it's like, to me, this doesn't change anything. That's why, like, I don't think he's solid 2.0, but in a sense, he's solid 2.0 because I don't see the ceiling changing between Aaron Glenn and Robert Saleh. So to me, it's like no different.
But hold on, Johnny. Like that, the Jets can't be judged on finding a coach that's going to put them in front of the Bills for next year. That's not happening. The Bills are going to be the favorites going in, and they should. Like this, right. Like you got it. Like this is a hire about being a good team for years to come. Like that's what you want.
Right. And I think that's what I was getting at is like Aaron Glenn, I don't think he's going to elevate us. Now, obviously you get a quarterback, it could change the whole deal, blah, 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 blah. But to me, it's just like looking at the team right now, like if we keep Aaron Rodgers and you tell me we got Aaron Glenn, like, okay. Like I don't see it. And then next year we got to find
Rodgers now. That's the one thing that will
Really?
I want Rodgers. So we're gonna have a first-time coach, and then we're gonna.
Okay. Like, right. No. I agree with you. I
want Aaron Rodgers as the quarterback next year. Right. I do.
100%. Because now that it's basically confirmed, because you know me, I wasn't a big Aaron Rodgers guy. Like I was kind of leaning towards getting rid of him. But I think if you're gonna bring in a guy like Aaron Glenn, it's like basically a lock now that Rodgers is coming back. Because I don't see Aaron Glenn taking Tyrod Taylor on his first year. I think he's gonna go with Aaron Rodgers, try to win. But I just don't see it. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm terrible. I hope I'll come on here next time and you send me straight to the hole because I have the worst take ever. But I don't see it, man. And it's really hard to have hope right now with Aaron Glenn. I wish we would have taken the swing on like a Joe Brady or a Josh McGowan or somebody like that because it would have gave me more hope. But I just feel like we're doing the same thing over and over again, and I don't know what to do, man.
Yeah. So hopefully they get it right. Hopefully Aaron Glenn's better than the previous guys, Johnny. That's it. I'm not going to tell you that have a lot of hope. You got to see it. The Jets don't deserve the benefit of the doubt. They don't. They're one of the worst franchises in sports. Get it right. And then I'd love to be like, I was dead wrong about Aaron Glenn. He's the man. Great coach. Hired a great staff. Love it. Bills fans, I'm sure, didn't love McDermott when they hired him. I'd have to go back and ask some Bills fans and look at what was said. Obviously the best example is the Lions and Dan Campbell. He was mocked. at that press conference. Nick Shine with a super chat. When you hear Jake mention older fans and he doesn't say your name. No, Nick Shine, when I mention you, we talk about your only fans. All right? That's what they call shine time after hours, if you know what I mean. Yikes. By the way, Kyle Clifton, who sent Beastbreaker to the hole, Beastbreaker has responded saying, I hate you, Kyle, you bleep bag, bleep hard, bleep stain. So that's the official response from Beast. Hit the like button if you're just tuning in. Let's get to more of your calls right now. Let's first off figure out if this caller on the line would be classified as a millennial, a Gen Z, or whatever's below Gen Z. I know he's not a millennial. I don't know if he's a Gen Z or what's below that. Connor Long is next. Hello, Connor.
Jake, how you doing? I'm pretty sure I'm a Gen Z. I think it's what it is.
You're a Gen Z? Okay.
I was born in 2011, so I don't think what's the new one? Gen Alpha, something like that. I don't think I'm young enough to be a Gen Alpha. I say I'm a Gen Z.
Real quick, Jet Buff, how much to get Beastbreaker out of the hole? $50 or 10 gifted memberships. So there you go. Continue, Connor.
Anyways, I was just, after this report, I think it's pretty safe to say Lance Newmark is going to be this team's next general manager, and Aaron Glenn is going to be the next head coach. Josh McCown's my number one option right now at head coach for a surplus of reasons. I probably have Glenn at third or fourth on my list. I'd probably put Joe Brady ahead of him, and then he's right neck and neck with Brian Flores for that third or fourth spot on my list. So I don't really know how to react, Jake, because when all's said and done, you need to show it on the field. I think Joe Douglas is a perfect example here, just because I think he did so much to put this team in position to win, but when all's said and done, he was 32 and 60 something. So you eventually have to put product out on the field. So as of now, I don't really know how to react to what we're seeing. I'll say this about Newmark and all the GM candidates. It is super difficult to evaluate a general manager candidate when they've not been a general manager before, because you never know how much say they have in personnel decisions, free agent signings. Compared to coordinators, you at least know they're calling plays. Glenn took one of the worst defenses in all of football and made them a top 5 unit in 4 seasons under an offensive-minded head coach who's never called plays before in his career. So at this point, like I said, I don't really know how to react to these signings. I would have loved Thomas Dimitrov as GM. The head coach names weren't really appealing to me per se, so Aaron Glenn, former Jet. You gotta hope he changes this culture, comes in and makes a statement right away. But I've said it before, McCown was my number one guy. At this point, I think you have to take a big swing on someone. I think Dan Campbell's the perfect example. I alluded to that a few minutes ago. Just that he's never called plays before in his career, and he's one of the best coaches in football. The job of a coach is not to necessarily be an offensive or defensive, wizard. It's to be a leader of men, a CEO type guy. And I think Josh McCown could have done just that with the right offensive staff. I think Glenn needs a really strong offensive coordinator in here, whether it's Joe Lombardi, Pete Carmichael, Deuce Staley, John Morton. Those are the 4 names I would probably prefer. I think he needs the strong staff around him. It's just so difficult. It was so difficult to get a pulse on what the Jets wanted to do, Jay, because there were so many different reports. I was listening to Kaz on your radio show yesterday. Of course, great interview with him as always. And he basically said the Jets wanted to go with a more low risk option. So when I heard that, I played that clip on my show earlier. When I heard that, the 2 names that came to mind were Arthur Smith and Matt Nagy. So it's like we've heard so many different things. The Jets want to go experience, and now the 2 finalists seem as their first time guys. It just doesn't make sense what the Jets are thinking here.
Yeah, because they're all over the place with the reporting on it. That's why. I mean, like Aaron Glenn's a risk. He's never been a head coach before, so they want to be risk adverse. Hire Mike McCarthy. Done. Make him say no. Also, now with Mike McCarthy not going to Chicago, no longer an option. It's the Saints or he's out of a job. So he wouldn't consider the Jets now? He might never get a chance to be a head coach again. He sits out a year. He might never get a third opportunity. That might be it. Done.
Yeah.
Very rarely do you get 3 chances, especially if you sit out. So I know, I have heard McCarthy would be interested in the job. Costello told me yesterday on radio he's heard differently. All right? I know Samini's reported that McCarthy would be interested. I personally have heard that too from people I talk to. But right now there's one job for Mike McCarthy. It's New Orleans or he's not getting a job. He wouldn't meet with the Jets? Really? That's what annoys me. I would love to at least talk to the guy. Talk to him.
You're going to interview Mike Loxley, Darren Rizzi, give Jeff Ulbrich a courtesy interview, spend an hour and a half to talk to Mike McCarthy, someone who I think is like 170 and 112 as a head coach. He's won a Super Bowl, brought Dallas to 3 straight 12-5 seasons. Like, come on, let's talk to some guys who have winning experience here. I'm for taking a big swing, but at the same time, if you're going to interview, BS candidates, at least talk to ones who have proven they are able to win in this league. Anyways, Jake, I appreciate you having me. That was my rant. That was my take. Newmark and Glenn, I think it's hard to really get excited at this point, especially about Newmark. I don't get the fascination with Newmark or Chris Spielman here. So that's where I am. Hopefully they go out, they put something together over these next few years, and they're here once I graduate high school. And I'm talking about watching my first playoff game next season. Jake, appreciate it.
Do you think you're ever going to see a Jet playoff game during you're in 8th grade, right?
Yeah.
So you hit high school next year. Do you think you'll see a playoff game during your 4 years in high school?
It's so tough. I think if they don't hit on this regime and they don't get a quarterback and develop a successful quarterback in the next year or two, no. Because I've been saying, am I going to be able to see a playoff game before I'm a legal adult? So 18, like you mentioned there. I don't know. There's a chance I'm 30 years old and Jets still aren't in the playoffs. I hope that's not the case, but it doesn't. It's not looking particularly great right now.
Man, when I was in high school, the Jets were going to back-to-back AFC Championship games.
Mark Sanchez, Rex Ryan, all those guys. I mean, look what Rex was able to do. Again, I'm not a huge fan of Rex. I don't want him here for a ton of reasons, but he gave that team such a spark of energy. Like Mark Sanchez, who I think threw 18 interceptions or something in 2010, he was still able to bring them to an AFC Championship game, and Sanchez still held an above 500 record in the playoffs. It's just, it's crazy to think. So you need someone who's going to come in here, make a change, set the culture. That's the dream here, Jake.
Connor, I hope you had a good long weekend. Back to school tomorrow. We ready to go?
Yes, hopefully they don't officially hire the guy while I'm in school. That's what I'm pulling for.
I want a live stream from the
nurse
or the cafeteria. All right.
Okay. We'll see how urgent it gets. Let's say if they hire Mike Loxley, maybe.
All right. I'm looking forward to it, Connor.
Jake, appreciate it. Have a great rest of your night.
Ladies and gentlemen, Connor Long. Good call from Connor. Omari with a super chat. I'm excited about Glenn. He's passionate, relatable. Him or Brian for me. I guess Brian is Brian Flores. We need New Yorkers who get the culture. Kingsbury can't handle the New York media. McCarthy feels outdated, and McCown lacks presence. McCarthy is so outdated, he only won 12 or more games 3 years in a row. And this year, that team was dead, and they never quit on him. They played well down the stretch. They won 7 games. You could argue they should have won a few more. Remember they got screwed over at the end of that Cincinnati game on Monday Night Football when that guy in the Cowboys blew it with the fumble? They should have won that game. Ryan says, I want an established coach, yet here we are again. Omari says, super chat above, and we don't want Mike. You don't want McCarthy? That's fine. I mean, I agree with you on Brian Flores. He's my choice, but I think it's going to be Aaron Glenn. Ladies and gentlemen, Jeffrey R. is in our raffle for 20. That's right, 20 channel memberships. 20 entries. Boom.
It's the Asmaniac membership raffle. For every membership gifted, you receive 1 ticket entered in the raffle to win epic prizes.
It's raining. It's raining. Gustbuster umbrella, promo code Jake, gustbuster.com. I got 20 names to read. Here we go. Shout out to Jeffrey. Coming through for the people. Bobby's Butternuts, Mr. Flowers, Daniel Salas Jr., Jamel Hayward, Daniel Valentine, King Lowski, Bethpage Chris, David, New Q, ISU RB4L, Sean Wilson, JT, Kikuchi, 1189 Paris, I'm No Siegel, Brian Inglet, Trav, Adam J, Gillen Barr, Jetlight 407, David Dean, all receiving channel memberships from the great Jeffrey R. Now, I know people are going to say, does this mean Beast is free? Jeffrey's not a Beast guy, so this was just for the raffle. This was not the free Beast. Still going to take 10 from an independent party to free Beast from the hole. Kyle Clifton sent them there. Take your issues up with Kyle. Had nothing to do with me. Dan with a super chat. Real important question. What did the Gourmandies have for dinner? I don't have the answer to that question. Charles Gorman, if you're out there, you want to weigh in on what you ate for dinner? Dan wants to know.
I think the second one. Excuse me.
We don't know. More of your calls right now. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get up close and let's get personal with the great David T.
I got my Iron UJ. I hope you like my Jets take. You know they call me David T. It's not easy for me to see. Sometimes when I have a few drinks, I slip and fall and break my face. Not that my vision was bad enough. Now I have this dull shit scar. Hi, Jake.
David, how are you?
I'm doing good. Hopefully my voice holds up, or else I'll get off. I've been confused. Now I'm a little unconfused because my feeling is, of course we wanted Brable, and when that all came down that we weren't going to get him, I really thought they'd be all over Flores, and now McCarthy, the experienced coaches. But it just seems like, even then, they might have Aaron Glenn might have been their next choice. That was their next focal point. That's just the vibe I get.
I wanted them to hire someone with experience as well. And my issue is just the lack of candidates with experience they've talked to. They talk to guys with experience who suck and don't deserve interviews. And I'm frustrated with the lack of conversations with more deserving candidates who do have experience. And if they got turned down by all these guys, fine. I want to know that. I don't think all these guys turned them down, though. I don't believe that.
And I agree with you and most of your callers and people in the chat, Jake. It got down to first timers, and you have Aaron Glenn on one side and Josh McNown on the other side, and me personally, I've been thinking offensive mind all the way. It's still, as opposed to coaches that have been there and done that. I guess it's the unknown or fear of the unknown or whatever.
I have plenty of fear.
Yeah, me too. I'm a Jet fan.
All I know is pain, fear, all of it.
Well, we go back to that famous song. If it doesn't kill you, it's going to make us stronger, Jake.
Are you going to sing us some Kelly Clarkson in the future, David?
One thing. Hey, I was involved with music. I was a trumpet player. Believe me, Jake. I cannot sing. So that would really be a disjustice to your audience, to be quite honest with you.
You were a trumpet player, David. We got to play some. We got to get you to play some trumpet on the show.
No, I'm long in retirement, buddy.
Do you still own a trumpet?
I still own. I had my dad bought me my first trumpet, and I don't have that anymore. And I had one through school, which I had to give back, but I did buy one on my own. And I do have it down here in Florida, as a matter of fact. And it's over in my other room. So I still have my trumpet.
David, I'll tell you what, if you play the trumpet on this show, that might help you win Asmaniac Madness. That might win you a couple rounds alone.
I don't know, Jake. Like I said, probably at this point too, it would be disrespectful to your audience also. But thanks for offering.
I don't know. I think you could do it. I think the chat would love to see it. Chat, let David T know in the comments. Do you want to see a David T live trumpet performance?
What's up? I can't hear you guys. Hello?
Hello?
David?
Yes,
How are you?
I'm doing fine.
Why did Jake put me on?
I don't know. Good question.
You know what I just did?
What'd you just do?
I just dropped a beast breaker in the toilet, like 5 pounds.
I got my Iron UG. I hope you like my Jets take. You know they call me David T. It's not easy for me to see, but if you bring me full stream, you might like what I had to say. I'll need to get real damn close, cause my vision is dog shit.
Many are probably watching the show being like, why did he just throw J-Quest on there with David T? Because I knew it'd be funny. There's no reason. I knew J-Quest would do something funny with the moment. He rises to the occasion. And David T is David T. And the chat universally wants him to perform a live performance of him playing the trumpet on this program, just as I suspected. By the way, Dennis Gorman, Charles's father, allegedly this is Dennis Gorman. We can't verify. For the person who asked about what Charles Gorman had for dinner, it was Dan who super chatted. Dennis Gorman saying they had spaghetti and garlic bread. Allegedly. Ladies and gentlemen, we go back to J-Quest right now. J-Quest, how was your Beast Breaker?
It was good. Healthy.
Nice.
Yeah, I didn't know you put me on. I was reading the chat. I never do that. I put the chat on, and you can't see the screen. All of a sudden, I go back, and I'm on, and I was a little confused there.
Yep.
All
exactly
good.
what I wanted. Thank you.
Appreciate that. So, no Jet point here, but a little Jet point. But if you're a Jets fan, and this happened in Discord today, how are people saying they're going to root for the Bills? I mean,
it's asinine.
What? Like, that's crazy to me, dude. Like, how are you, like, that's the only thing we have on them. They have no Super Bowls. 0. We have 1. Yes, it happened in 1969 when the moon landing happened. I guess it didn't happen, but, you know, that's Gary's point. So we have 1, and they have none. And you can root for the Bills to win. Why? So you can root for the Commanders to beat them in the Super Bowl? What if they don't?
Amen.
You know?
Amen. Why give their fans any happiness?
Exactly.
Yeah, 100%. Look, I don't like the Chiefs either, but we've seen the Chiefs win before. What's another appearance in the Super Bowl for them? I'll root for the NFC team, whoever they play. But like, okay, the Chiefs go back to the Super Bowl. Great. Like, that doesn't hurt me. They're not the Jets' rival. Like the Bills, I hate Bills fans. They suck. Not all, 99% of every Bills fan I know I despise. So I don't want them to get happiness. I don't want them to experience happiness. Screw them.
I know. And I bookmarked like all these things that Bills fans have said on Twitter because they've come at me. I said, oh, Jets are going to win a division. I said it in like August. And all of a sudden, like 2 weeks ago, people are coming at me like from like that same tweet. I have like 10 followers on Twitter for crying out loud. Found me. I don't even know. They're coming at me. So I bookmarked all these things. I'm waiting for them to lose and it's going to kill them on Twitter. Because I hate the Bills, hate the Patriots, hate the Dolphins. Just root for the Chiefs, please. Stop being losers. All right? Jake, be good.
100%. J-Quest, great call. Welcome back. Always good to get a J-Quest call on here. JV says, I'm going to Buffalo to celebrate their Super Bowl win with them. Well, I'll tell you what, JV. You claim to be a Jet fan. The only thing you are is a fraud who belongs in the hole.
Now look what you've done. No more protection from the Asmaniacs. Had to pull you out of the chat and cast you down with the sodomites. Some time in here will feel like you've been run over by the lane train. You understand me? You catch my drift? Give them another 24 hours to think about it.
Come on now. You're going to root for the Bills? Stop it. Ladies and gentlemen, Devin is in our raffle. 1 entry. For those who missed the first show today, we had our 12th Asmaniac raffle. We are on to raffle number 13, where the grand prize is a signed Garrett Wilson jersey that I will mail to you Thank you to listener J Mags for the very generous donation to use this for a giveaway. I also have purchased a signed Brees Hall autographed jersey card that I will send to you if you win. Plus, we'll do other items as well that I will announce as we get closer. It depends on how many memberships we get. The other prizes I could add to the raffle. But those are the two big-time prizes. Devin, you're in for at least one. You gifted a membership there. And let's see who got it. Listener Lee Van, the great Lee Van, who'll be joining us at our Knicks game on March 22nd. He received a channel membership. Love that. More of your calls right now. We were talking about the Chiefs. Every Jet fan, I believe, should be a Chiefs fan this upcoming weekend. So let's check in with our resident Chiefs fan.
It's Chiefs fan. Guess what? I'm still looking for a job, bitches. It's Chiefs fan. I'm just going to rub my hands together all day. It's Chiefs fan. There's a whole lot of DNA on this couch. Let's hear it for Chiefs fan. Look, it's my dead neighbor that I didn't kill.
Hello, Chiefs fan.
Yo, I'm just gonna bury the hatchet with Beast. Like, you came on, you were straight fire. You did good, Beast. You did really good, Beast. That was sad that you were cut off, man.
Yeah, I thought Beastbreaker had a great call today.
He was straight fire. He came out and apologized. So I'm burying the hatchet with him. If he wants to bury the hatchet, you were straight fire, Beast.
Mm-hmm.
I'm nervous because I don't want this whole Jets fandom to be pissed off at me or my team. So I am very nervous.
We're rooting for you. All right. We hope you get all the calls this week from the refs.
I'm hoping to, but if we lose, I'm gonna have to root for the NFC team. I rather drink cyanide mixed with rat poison than to be a Bills fan or root for the Bills, or have my friends who are Bills fan have a championship. Like, growing up, I was taught to feel sorry for the Bills, but throughout the years, from age 10 to now, we've seen how toxic Bills fans are. They literally had a frog being hung and saying it was Patrick Mahomes. Like, that's toxic.
That's kind of funny. I did not see that, but that is kind of funny.
It's not funny because he's half black. You got to look at it that way.
You think there's a racial element to that? It's because he has a froggy voice.
I don't know. I'm talking about Mahomes being half black. I thought it was
but that's not. What did they do to the frog?
They were hanging the frog. I don't like that.
I would have to see it before, but that in and of itself is kind of funny. Like, there's not a racial element to that.
I took it as a racial element, like the way I grew up in Chicago. So
that's right. You're from the hood.
Yeah.
Also, Hawk makes a good point. Kermit is half black. Did you consider that?
Oh, shit. Fuck. I forgot about that.
See?
Damn, that also makes me mad, too. But I'm really hoping that we win. A lot of people want the Commanders to win it all. A lot of people want the Commanders to beat my Chiefs or the Commanders to beat the Bills. If the Commanders somehow win it all and they beat us, I'll just be like, good shit. I don't want Philly to have a ring, and I don't want Buffalo to have a ring, but if I'm forced to root for Philly, I'll root for Philly. The main reason why I don't want to root for Philly, because the last time I rooted for Philly, I still got dog shit. Like,
what happened the last time you rooted for Philly?
The friends who I no longer talk to are Eagles fans were toxic as fuck. Oh yeah, we won one before you Chiefs won one. I'm like, okay, you can go fuck yourself.
Language, Chiefs fan. Jeez.
My bad. But I rather be the Chiefs of the Commanders win it all. I don't want to see Buffalo win it all. That's like you guys said. That's the only thing you have over them. Like, and you did it from out of the AFL too, before the merger. The Jets. I'm one of the hard believers that the Jets winning out of the AFL forced that merger. I'm one of the hard believers of that.
As opposed to being a soft believer of that?
No, like, you guys, they had 2 titles up on the AFL, and the Jets came out and mollywopped the Baltimore Colts. Gave them a Mike Tyson punch.
Well, it wasn't really a mollywop. I believe the final score was 16-7.
But you know what I mean. Like, they came out and punched him in the jaw and proved that the AFL was something. And then
Yep.
the year later, we had a merger.
Well, what is it like to have the entire Jet fan base besides like Allen and a couple other stray weirdos rooting for your team?
I appreciate y'all. I really hope you guys can win a ring one day too. I was saying there's 3 outcomes of Aaron Glenn. Either he gets you to the promised land, Salah, or you're mediocre. But maybe there's a 4th option that he's a bridge coach. Like 5 years from now, you're holding up the Lombardi. But it's not Aaron Glenn. Someone else. I believe, like, day by day, I'm slowly leaning closer to McGar. Can't even say his name. Packers and Dallas coach.
Mike McCarthy?
Yeah, thank you. Day by day, I'm slowly leaning more and more to him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if the Steelers didn't have their head up their ass, could you imagine just giving up a first-round pick for Tomlin or 2 second-rounders?
I mean, I would do it, but it's not going to happen.
Or if they wanted a 2nd, a 3rd, and a 5th from this year, you still get a good coach.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just hoping the best for you. I don't want Glenn to be like Salah again. I don't want you guys going through that. So I remember finding your channel the year Rodgers went down, and you guys went 7 and you guys 7-10, and then with Rodgers being healthy, you went 5-12.
Yeah. Thanks for the reminder.
I just want you guys. I'm sorry for the reminder, but I just want you guys to have a winning season for once. Even if it's 9-8, it's something to look forward to. Look at the Lions. Well, not now because they got their ass kicked, but they went 9-8 and they slowly pushed themselves up the thing. But they don't be like the Lions and get a 1 seed and just fall apart, basically. That my friend Daniel, the Lion fan, doesn't talk to me anymore. I'm like, look who's the better 15-2 seed? Immediately blocked. So I don't know if I'm going to talk to him again.
Are you sure this guy was actually your friend if he blocked you that quickly?
We were real cool, but like he was.
Have you met him in person?
Yeah. Oh, he used to live in the same town that I used to live in growing up, and we talked. But like, he got mad at me. I'm like, well, looks like we're gonna three-peat. Thanks for getting eliminated with a better 15-2 team, and I haven't spoke to him since that game.
I see.
I was just trying to get him to like fight back or trying to say something. So he was depressed all night. Like how I was depressed when the Bengals beat us a few years ago. Like I'm gonna be straight up. I'll be more depressed than Jet fans if the Bills win it all, because I decided to open my big mouth and say to 3 of the friends, I bet you $50 each that the Bills won't win it all.
Wow, so you're on the hook for $150 if the Bills win the Super Bowl.
Yes. But that's for my store credit. From the card shop I went to, I got like $400 store credit because I decided.
Do you need me to give you a loan, cover the expense?
No. I opened 2 back-to-back $150 cards, and then I decided to hold on to the $150 magic card. Shot up to $250, and the store was like, "We'll give you $400 for both. We'll just give you retail since someone wants it." Like someone was literally there looking at my binder. I'm like, we'll give you retail so we could sell this up price for $75. And I'm like, okay. Because there's no selling in the store, and I've been going to that local since I've been a kid.
I see.
Well, teenage years.
Mm-hmm.
They moved different locations. But I'm hoping for Connor's sake that they do not sign him. Like, I would love to. I lurk in Connor's streams. Actually, it's for my back. I find this pose more relaxing on my back than to lean forward and feel like shit.
Now repeat after me. You ready?
Yeah.
Paint me like one of your French girls.
Paint me like one of your French girls. And Gator, you better make that a damn edit.
Ladies and gentlemen, Cheats fan.
It's Chiefs fan. Guess what? I'm still looking for a job, bitches. It's Chiefs fan. I'm just going to rub my hands together all day. It's Chiefs fan. There's a whole lot of DNA on this couch. Let's hear it for Chiefs fan. Look, it's my dead neighbor that I didn't kill.
We are all Chiefs fans this week. We are all riding and dying with Chiefs fan and his Kansas City Chiefs against the Buffalo Bills. Unless your name is Allen. Over the top with a super chat. If this is the pick for coach, I hate it. I want an offensive coach. It's easy to find a good DC. I get it. There's not a lot of great offensive coaching candidates out there that they've even spoken to. Maybe they've been turned down by a few of these guys, but not all of them. That's my feeling. Devin with a super chat. Hello, Devin. Aaron Glenn is not my number one choice. Brian Flores is. But I think the lawsuit's part of the reason. I actually don't think it's that at all. I mean, Aaron Glenn's been coaching the last 3 years. I bet you if he became a head coach, he'd probably drop the lawsuit, so it's not a distraction while he's a head coach again. No one's told me that. That seems logical. I do think Aaron Glenn's going to do a good job. I'm rocking a Jets beanie with a pom-pom today. Just effing win. Hey, if you're not on board with Aaron Glenn, I get it, but you should be rooting for him to do well. See, I rather root for my team and hope I'm wrong than root to be right. That's not being a fan. I want the Jets to win every game. I want them to be awesome. I want Aaron Glenn to be the best coach this franchise has ever had. That's what you hope happens. Hit the like button if you haven't already. It's time for more of your calls. Ladies and gentlemen, the reason why Beastbreaker is in the hall is because Kyle Clifton put him there. Kyle, you're next. Hello, Kyle.
How are you, Jake?
How are you?
I'm doing good. We can't choose or help that offensive coordinators don't want to interview with us. But the whole thing with McCarthy stinks to high hell. To at least not bring him in and talk to him, it seems to me like maybe Woody has his finger on the scale and he doesn't want Rodgers back because
I thought you were going to make a fat joke there. I thought you were going to be like, he doesn't want a fat head coach. I was going to be like, I don't think that's it.
No, I think he wants to put his finger on the scale and say, I don't want Rodgers back. I think this guy would come in, think he could win and get to the playoffs in year one with Rodgers. So let's take him out of the equation entirely. I can't prove that, but it's the only logical reason I can think that they wouldn't want to speak to McCarthy. The guy has had double-digit wins. I think it's 10 of 18 years. He's only had a losing record in 5 of 18 years. So that's crazy. That said, of the available candidates, since Vrabel went off the board, and you know who my offensive pick would be.
Oh yeah,
I think that Glenn is probably the guy, and I'm heartened by the fact that these guys are going to be in lockstep because they know each other and they've worked together before. So you don't have McCagnon and Bowles meeting each other for the first time in a cab from the airport. You don't have the original odd couple, Rex and Idzik, which a blind man could see wasn't going to work out. Where Rex had too much influence, and Idzik had never really selected players before, and that went south real quick. That's kind of where I stand with it. If we're gonna take this kind of swing with a DC again, who I do think has some head coaching qualities to coach the whole team, then we got to do it with a guy where there's going to be alignment. So we'll see if it's actually something that happens tomorrow or the next day. If it does, I'll root for him. I think I love Aaron Glenn, great guy, and seems like he's a good ball coach. Let's go win some football games.
Yeah, look, I hope they do. I hope they do. I just underwhelmed if this is the pairing. Once again, it's not even just Aaron Glenn. We're also bringing in a first-time GM with him. I hope there's a front office hire with Newmark, that it's not just Newmark and Glenn, and that's it. Beastbreaker just wrote, I want out. I ran a poll earlier. Do you like the Jets hiring Aaron Glenn over either Josh McCown, who's the other candidate most Jet fans want, or Brian Flores? And I only mentioned those two, not Mike McCarthy, because they haven't interviewed McCarthy. So I could say I want McCarthy. You could say you want McCarthy. The reality is he's not an option until they speak with the guy. So 53% say yes, but that means no is 47%. So the fan base is going to be split on Aaron Glenn, which means first time he loses a game, he's going to lose the fan base. I already know how this is going to go. He's not going to get a long leash. His fan base is not going to be patient. They're not. You would have more patience if they hired a guy like Flores or McCarthy who have been head coaches before. You know, it's not fair to Aaron Glenn, but he's not going to get a whole lot of grace from this fan base. And I can't tell any Jet fan to give the guy time. You waited long enough. Why do I have to give Aaron Glenn time? Win games. Let's go. We've had enough. I'm not giving him time. I'm not going to say fire him if they lose the first game, but no, he better come in and be better than Salah was year one, because he's got a way better roster than Salah had in year one. You know, I didn't have patience with Adam Gase because he never should have been hired. So when they started 1-7, I wanted them out, gone. I mean, it's an uninspiring hire. It just is. Doesn't mean it can't work. It's very uninspiring. Enoch checks in. Aaron Glenn's 100% my choice. What he did with that defense with all those injuries, I'm optimistic he'd make our defense great again. Awesome. Salah had a great defense too. You got to win games. You got to win games. Win football games. That's what I want to do. The defense should be better next year. They shouldn't have been this bad this year. Douglas had a lot to do with it, with the personnel decisions with the defensive line. And firing Salah 5 games in had a lot to do with it too. That's where it all stems from. I hope they win a lot of games. A lot of games. Hit the like button if you're tuning in. Ladies and gentlemen, on the line right now is one of the highest grossing OnlyFans content creators we've ever seen. Nick Shine joins us now. Hello, Nick.
Hello, sir. Thank you for plugging my channel. Appreciate you. You're a good man.
My pleasure.
I want to give you some pushback first.
Please.
You're not going to have patience with Aaron Glenn, knowing that we might not have a quarterback?
Who's the quarterback? Tell me.
I don't know. I'm saying if we move on from Rodgers, I mean, chances are we're not going to have the quarterback that we desire in year one.
Right.
You wouldn't have patience with him, and I think
Jets
fans will have more patience because he was a Jet, and they might be more endearing to him.
Yeah, I think that runs out very quickly if they don't start winning.
Do you?
Yeah, I don't think it's cool that he's a Jet. That's going to wear off if they suck. They need to win games. There's talent on this team. They need to win games. And you're trying a first-timer who's never been a head coach who's learning on the job. He could be awesome and make the playoffs like Rex did in year one, or Mangini or Herm did in year one, or he could suck like Bowles. I mean, well, to be fair to Bowles, they won 10 games and then they choked. So I can't kill him for that. But, obviously Gase was a disaster year one. Salah took over a full rebuild. Yeah, I mean, this team better be better than they were this year. Better be.
That's not a high bar. I just think that fans will. I think it's all based upon the quarterback, because as we see in the NFL and as we see the teams are remaining now, and even this past weekend, if you don't have the man, you don't have a chance.
Right.
And it's so clear. It's the most important position in sports by far. Starting pitchers come out in inning 6 in the playoffs. Hitters, maybe 3 or 4 at-bats in a game, right? But the quarterback affects the football game more than anyone else. If you don't have one of the good ones, one of the upper tier, your team doesn't have a chance.
Yeah.
And
but
even when you do have one of the upper ones, you still can't get to the Super Bowl. Look at Baltimore.
I get
Number
it.
one run game, number one defense. Can't get there.
Salah won 4 games his first year. Aaron Glenn better win at least 6 or 7. Bare minimum. And that, I'm not going to feel good about that, but they better win. Yeah, I want this team to make the playoffs next year. I don't think it's crazy. So they're not going to be favored to do it, but if Rodgers is here, playoffs is my goal. And if it's Tyrod, I hope that Tyrod could do what he did for the Bills.
Yeah.
End the longest playoff drought in sports. And then maybe we draft our franchise quarterback of the future next year. Like what Buffalo did. They traded up for Josh Allen.
I'm all about that. I'm all about the quarterback class in 26 than 25. I would rather, with our first 2 picks, solidify the trenches, get that D tackle, D end in round 1, get a right tackle in round 2. How about this? I was saying this yesterday. You see teams like Baltimore with Daniel Falele, monster right guard. Becton, monster right guard. What if we just go get like one of those monsters, like a 6'6", 330-pound guy, move him inside to be more dominant in the run game and slide AVT, who's, I think, a little more finesse, out to right tackle and just get that straight ahead power run game. We don't have that guy that we can run behind up the middle.
I think that's more scheme related, though. I don't know if it's because they don't have the guys on the line to do it. Like, I'd be curious to find out what type of offensive scheme whoever Aaron Glenn hires to be the OC would be, because like they should be better at running the ball than they were. I mean, their offensive line has talent on it, and they have 3 quality running backs. Like Brees is Brees, and then Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis look like they could at least be, complementary players at the bare minimum in this league.
Have you heard my theory on why our run game was so ineffective? It's because every time it was a pass play, Rodgers is at the line giving all the hand signals like he's a mute. And then every time it was a run play, there's no signals. So the defense can attack knowing that it's going to be a run. Like, it was a giveaway.
Yeah, maybe that. Also, they were like, Rodgers probably checked out of a lot of runs because he knew it wasn't going to work.
Yeah, it's true. I do have a theory for you.
Is it a good one?
I have a guarantee that the Buffalo Bills lose next weekend.
Okay.
There's only one man that we know who could declare his allegiance to the Buffalo Bills and completely derail their season like he did with the Jets, like he did with the Lions. We need Allen, I call it Josh Allen Avatar, to declare his allegiance to the Buffalo Bills, thus guaranteeing, I say, they do not win this week. Allen, you are the man. You hold the power. Make it happen, my friend.
He's rooting for the Bills like the fraud he is. It's unreal. Imagine being a Jet fan rooting for the Bills. It's pathetic.
We need Gator to come up with a Josh Allen Avatar video.
Oh, what a fraud. What a fraud. I enjoyed watching the Lions lose. Like, I respect Lions fans of the NFC Jets, but part of me enjoyed watching that bleep show, knowing that Allen had to sit there after hyping up them as the greatest team to ever play professional football. To lose that way, it was incredible.
It was shocking. I mean, I've since last year, right around this time, I said Jaden Daniels would be the best quarterback of this class. And the poise, the calm, the trust that Kingsbury has in him to call these sprint outs, not a bootleg, but just a sprint out. Like, I'm going to beat you to the corner, and I know I can beat you. It's the trust that the play caller has in the quarterback, and the fact that the quarterback delivers time and time again. Jake, we can only pray we see something like that.
Must be nice to hit on a number 2 pick at quarterback. Must be nice.
Yeah, it's
Texans did it the year before and went to the playoffs with a defensive-minded head coach from the Niners who hired the passing game coordinator from the Niners to be his OC. The Texans literally copied what the Jets did, and they've been in the playoffs the last 2 years, have won a playoff game each of the last 2 years. Jaden Daniels, number 2 pick in the draft with a defensive coach, and boom, they're in the NFC title game. They have matched the amount of total playoff wins this season than they had with Dan Snyder's entire time as the owner there.
And this has nothing to do with Chiefs fans' pose from earlier. But not only do you have to suck, but you have to suck at the right time in order to get, like, some years, you're number 1, you get Joe Burrow. Other years, you're number 1, you get Tim Couch. Like, when you're bad matters. You can't just say, let's tank, because you don't know who's going to be there.
Right.
You don't know how they're going to do. Bears had the number 1 pick, took Caleb. Commanders have the number 2 pick, end up with Jaden Daniels, and looks like a top quarterback for many years to come. I'm happy for the kid. I like the kid, and I'm rooting for them. I'm a Washington fan from here on out.
But good GM's got to be able to find the quarterback without necessarily picking in the top 5, too. I mean, Lamar Jackson was the last pick of the first round. Josh Allen was the 3rd quarterback taken that year, and they had to trade up to get him.
Was he? Did Rosen go before him?
Yeah, Rosen was right after him.
After him? Okay.
Yep. Jalen Hurts was a 2nd-round pick, Obviously, Jane Daniels is the example of hitting in the top 2.
Yeah.
Mahomes was the second quarterback that year. They traded up to get him, And these teams, by the way, were playoff teams when they made their move. Lamar Jackson joined a playoff team. Josh Allen joined a playoff team. Patrick Mahomes didn't start his first year. He joined a playoff team. He sat behind Alex Smith. That's part of it too. Is Lance Newmark going to be able to identify his guy and swing a deal and be able to get him a year from now? Because I want Aaron Glenn to win some games next year, so I hope he's not picking in the top 3 where it's obvious you're going quarterback in that spot.
Yeah. I'm all in on going all in on a quarterback in 26. No matter what it takes, move up. You got the kid from LSU. You got Manning. There's another high prospect. I forget his name, slipping my mind right now. But I think there's 2 or 3 guys who can come in and impact the game, and they're mobile. And when you can use your mobility until your ability as a passer fully develops, that's a great edge to have. You don't have to sit back there in the pocket and just be a sitting duck. You can design runs to get the quarterback and the passing game to open up. Linebackers got to come up, right? Safety's got to cheat. You can do rollouts and then go over the top because the safety might cheat up. There's so many schematic things that open up for you when you have a mobile quarterback. And it's the way the game is now. And if you don't have a mobile quarterback, very rarely do you have a chance.
100%. I mean, they're going to have to. That's why I was more open to McCown than many, because I'll be a year early on McCown, knowing that they're going to go quarterback in 2026. And now we're hiring Aaron Glenn. He's got to pick an offensive coordinator, and that offensive coordinator is now going to be in charge a year from now, 2026, of likely developing a rookie quarterback they take. And that's scary. We don't know.
Yeah, it's the life of a Jet fan. Even when we have all the answers, it only leads to more questions, my friend.
Yeah, but I was genuinely excited when they hired Saleh, like most. Like, if they hire Aaron Glenn, I'm not that excited. It's underwhelming. I'm like, okay, I hope he does great. We'll see.
Drew Aller. Aller was the other one from Penn State. Thank you, Alan.
We'll see what he turns out to be with another year in school.
I think it was a smart move to do. He did the right thing. If you go run the table, when you said I'm not declaring, it's the right move. You go run the table and your stock is through the roof and you win the national title, then, okay, then you declare, right? You change it. You're like, okay, we just won the national title. I played phenomenal. But now it's not like he's withdrawing from the draft process. It was the right move. And it worked out perfectly for him because, as we saw in that final game, he needs some more seasoning. He needs some more polish. I think he's a very, very interesting prospect, especially for us, with size, mobility, speed, and good arm. Can make all the throws, but just got to mentally develop the game a little more. So hopefully he does that, and we'll see how it plays out, my friend.
Yeah, well, hopefully they get it right. That's all that matters.
I have to ask you one last thing before I go.
Yes.
Did you mute yourself and pull a Charles Gorman about a minute ago?
No, I ordered food and my doorman was calling my. I have a rant I want to unleash, but I'm going to save it. But the phone is so loud it bleeds on the air if I don't mute my mic, so that's why I cut it.
I saw the mute. Yeah. I saw the mute when I was talking, and I saw a slight lean. I was like, "Oh, I know that move."
You're the only one who could see it, though. People on StreamYard, the audience, I learned the StreamYard adjusted this. If you mute, they can't see it on YouTube in real time. Like, how there's the logo that says you mute on StreamYard. They can't see it. They changed it. They used to be able to. They changed it.
I'm revealing behind the curtain here. I apologize, good sir.
Now, let's be real, though. Have I Charles Gorman before while sitting in this chair for hours upon hours every day? Absolutely. The difference is, though, unlike Charles Eugene M. Gorman, Nick, I'm a professional.
I think the second one. Excuse me.
Now, for all you know, I just Gormaned while that Gorman clip was playing, but you're not going to know.
Did you and Gorman toot simultaneously?
He inspired me.
It was a tooting symphony. Awesome.
I don't think anyone's beating Gorman in March, by the way. Yeah, I think he's going to win the whole thing. So we'll see.
You know what it is, too? It's almost like the less is more because he's not an everyday caller. And when he calls, it hits, right? Like he keeps you wanting more. And when he does call in, it's a grand slam every single time.
Yeah, he always is good for several iconic moments. It feels like every call.
I feel that the snowball started rolling downhill when Charles was in the backseat of the car. And he said that, remember, if you poop your pants in your dreams, you poop your pants in real life. I was like, Charles, we've been together for like an hour and a half and you just dropped that gem now?
All-timer.
He's great. Jake, you're great. Thank you for having me on. You're the man.
Are you doing a show tonight, Nick?
I think I am. I think I'm going to go on around 9. I don't have any interest in this game. I'd like to sit and watch the whole thing. So I did everything I need to do today. We did snow removal at school this morning for 5 hours. I took like a 2-hour nap. I was exhausted. And I'm like, you know what? I asked the Discord. They spoke. They want a show. So probably around 9.
All right. Nick Shine Show, folks. Subscribe there.
Check it out if you haven't already. We'll welcome you with open arms.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, Nick Shine wrapping us out. Closing us out. Gary, my chicken parm and pasta arrived for dinner. So not only did someone pay me to send you to the hole, but I used the funds to spite you by having chicken parm and pasta for dinner, baby. I was going to do tacos because that's what Beastbreaker said to do, but I felt like this was more petty of me. Anyway, fun show. We're back tomorrow. We'll have clarity on Glenn and Newman by tomorrow. Tomorrow could be like a 2 or 3 show day with breaking news shows. So we'll find out. Real quick, let's give some love to Hirsch Parker, who gifted 5 channel memberships.
I think the second one, excuse me,
Cheats fan got a membership. How fitting. Dean Paparella, Stephen Craig, John Liskey, and Nick Russo, all receiving channel memberships from Hirsch Parker. D. Stern with our final super chat here. The Sala is the same as Glenn is lazy. Glenn known to be flexible with personnel and scheme. Sala married to his scheme. They're different. Maybe. I mean, Sala was a leader of men. CEO. Going to coach the whole team. Learn from great coaches. Going to hold guys accountable. Going to be fiery on the sideline. Sounds like Aaron Glenn to me. Hopefully it works out better this time. Let's see. Matt says, what time are you aiming for in the morning? Have to monkey with my morning work schedule. Matt, the plan is 10 a.m. 10 a.m. hour is when I'm going live. So be on the lookout for that. Anyway, thank you all for tuning in. Enjoy the game tonight. I know it's underway between Notre Dame and Ohio State. So enjoy that one. We're back tomorrow with 2 more shows. Thanks again to everyone who tunes in. Go Jets, everybody.
On the 2022 draft pick, the pick goes to Knoble out of college.